Back at it with Foxborough Rush here on Nesson, Casey and Annabelle, breaking down different position groups and getting into the quarterback conversation. The best quarterback of the 2024 NFL draft class is blank. But we get to fill that blank, we being Annabelle and myself. And I'm excited to do this because I feel like we have a minute here to kind of like preach a little bit more to what Drake may or may not do, but also give credit around the league, because I want to say that this draft class, at least when it comes to the quarterbacks, two names in particular jump off the page to me. So the actual draft order, one being the Bears, Caleb Williams, two Commanders, Jaden Daniels, 3 Patriots, Drake Maye, 4 Falcons, Michael Penix Jr., 10 Vikings, J.J. McCarthy, who got hurt, so we didn't get a chance to see anything out of him yet, and then Broncos at 12 with Bo Nix. Which name in this original draft order jumps off the page to you to where you say, yeah, he made an immediate impact last year when he got the tap?
Yeah, I mean, Jaden Daniels, and all I've been doing is little touchdown dance to that song, Let's Groove. I mean, I had that stuck in my head for weeks after that. I forget what game, maybe Monday Night Football, whatever that was, and that Let's Groove trend was going on. Me and TikToker. I struggle, okay? I'm not that trendy. I might be young, but I'm not that trendy. But yeah, I think it's Jaden Daniels. This guy had an absolutely incredible rookie year, rookie of the year, coming off the Heisman. Usually you see a lot of Heisman quarterbacks not do really well in their rookie year.
So
and he totally flipped the script on that, and just fun to watch.
Yeah.
Like, I think I had a lot of fun watching him. So that was a huge, big hit for the Commanders.
Yeah, he was kind of one of those guys that surprised me, because I'm like, this dude just turned into the ultimate old soul. Like,
yes.
Like his leadership style, old soul, his playing style, old soul. But what was so cool is that, like, he just had a maturity to him, the way that he responded to everything. No one expected him to be able to take this team into a postseason. I mean, I remember how heavy those conversations were of people being like, you're delusional. He can't take him all the way there. It's fun to see what he's done during the regular season, but postseason, you're nuts. He did it. He made a bigger splash than he was given credit for. A lot of that does go to the coaching staff and their ability to just kind of wield the system properly behind him. But I will say, he jumps off the page. For me, it's Bo Nix. It's Bo Nix because the biggest conversation around the Denver Broncos was that this team would probably not even win 5 games. And then if you had a little bit of hope that they'd win 5 games, there's no way they're winning 7 games. Then you see Bo Nix just come out and evolve game by game by game by game. And maybe you could have made that argument earlier in the season, but as the season went along, you just saw him step up in his leadership role, step up in his ability, clean up some of his stuff skill set wise, and you can do that when you've got a great coach moving behind you. But I was really impressed with what Bo Nix was able to do regardless of the expectation for the Broncos. So with these names in mind, the original draft order laid out, how would you redraft this? Is Caleb Williams to the Bears still your number 1 pick?
Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not. And I say that in hopes that he can have a better year next year,
right.
Okay? But no way. It was underwhelming for sure. And I even have him under J.J. McCarthy, who didn't even play.
Oh, wow.
Okay? And
AB's a tough
I'm a
judge.
tough critic on that one, but I think I was just disappointed in kind of the aura of him and the body language of him. You look at a guy like Bo Nix, a guy who got better as the season progressed. Obviously, Bo Nix had a tenured coach around him. He had great veteran players. He had some great rookies around him as well. But I think when you look at a guy like Bo Nix and then you look at a guy like Jaden Daniels, super mature, great leader. Even Drake Maye, like, he wasn't the starter the whole season, and he just has that demeanor about him where you're like, man, like, people want to be led by you. I think just watching Caleb Williams handle some of the things that didn't go the Bears' way, and yeah, it wasn't all on him for sure, but like, you're the leader of this team. They brought you in to be the guy. They actually even fired the head coach because it wasn't working, right? So I'm hoping that it'll work well for Caleb Williams. It'll mean that my guy from BC, Ozzie Trapillo, who's an offensive lineman there to protect him, will have been doing well. So, and they got guys around him. Like, they went out and got weapons. They got Loveland from Michigan to be a tight end for him on the offense. They got Ozzie Trapillo. Like, they're doing what the Patriots are doing and investing in the offense for their quarterback, who they want to be the guy. But yeah, I definitely do not have him at number 1. I actually have him at the bottom. So he probably would have, probably would have, you know, in hindsight, right? If we're saying this before the draft, like, yeah, probably would have him up there too. But I think in hindsight, like, I'm throwing Jaden Daniels at the top and I'm throwing Caleb Williams at the bottom.
Oh, you really are tough, but I like it because it is true. when you're gifted the starting quarterback role, you have a lot of expectation on you to be the leader, to kind of have this, George puts it in a way that I love, audacity about you. And it doesn't mean that you have to come off arrogant. It doesn't mean that you have to act out of character, but you do have to have a confidence and kind of breathe a different air. When CJ Stroud was a rookie trying to make things happen, he carried himself a certain way regardless of what took place in front of him. I gave Caleb Williams a lot of credit, because how do you play your best football when your offensive line is just disappointing you game after game after game, leaving you out to dry? I mean, you're getting your brain rocked, for crying out loud, and you can't even step up and like have time to be decisive and to be effective. But at the end of the day, he still has to carry himself like he's not entirely defeated. So I agree with you on that. So you would put Jaden Daniels as your number 1 draft pick?
Yes, I have him at the top.
All right, who's coming in at number?
You're welcome, Bears.
Seriously. Who's coming, and I think he would handle that situation differently, honestly. Who do you have at number 2 on your restructured draft list if Jaden Daniels bumps up to 1, Caleb Williams bumps down to 12?
Well, number 2 and 3 for me could kind of be similar. I have Drake Maye with the Commanders, and then I have, even though that'd be a bummer because we've won him here, and Bo Nix with the Pats. And I think those can go hand in hand a little bit. Those are 2 guys that have a lot of promise and a lot of upside. Obviously, you want them to have great sophomore years, and that's, you know, a topic of contention. But I think giving Drake Maye the benefit that he had a new head coach last year, they were learning on the fly, didn't have a good O-line to protect him, couldn't really have any pass protection. And in that sense, like, what do we know is going to happen next year? So yeah. I think out of that, and then comparing his situation to Bo Nix's situation, very different support systems around them. But I have those guys at 2 and 3 on this list.
That is such a wild concept that I feel like fans would lose it over, like Bo Nix as a New England Patriot. But I'm sure a number of people would be on board with this, considering Bo Nix was, top of the rookie conversation for passing touchdowns. How many touchdowns could this Patriots team have used last season?
A good amount.
Exactly. In a number of moments. I mean, look, at one point towards the end of the season, and you typically know that they find a way to beat the Bills, but the Bills like to rest their starters. They make that known almost weeks in advance. But there's just a number of close games where you're like, the Patriots completely can at least add another W to their record if they would just do what? Be able to find one more touchdown. And I know it's not as easy as finding a touchdown, but a guy like Bo Nix.
Extra point, something.
Something. Bo Nix would have been a guy, I feel like, to get that done. Nothing against Drake Maye. I just think that, like, the assertiveness, the aggression, and then clearly the skill set differential between Bo Nix and Drake Maye. And Bo Nix, he knew that was his team, them being the Broncos, from day one, from the jump. I mean, even though we were still kind of speculating, I'm pretty sure that he already knew. Once you have that level of confidence to you, you can just kind of step in and claim your role, whereas like Drake Maye had to do a little bit of a dance around other quarterbacks for a minute. So I love the take on Bo Nix potentially as a Patriot. It would have been weird to see Drake Maye.
But here's the thing, too, with both those guys. The Patriots probably wouldn't have been ready for Drake Maye or Bo Nix. Like, they didn't play Drake Maye for a reason. Right? They saved him until they
probably
couldn't.
Still would have saved Bo Nix.
They probably still would have saved Bo Nix. And even talking about the head coaching position with the Patriots, like, Vrabel became the head coach because he was available. Like, there were a lot of things for the Patriots last season that just wasn't the right timing, and it wasn't what they were looking for. So I think regardless of the situation there, we probably would have seen a similar season and a similar 4-13 outcome.
That's an interesting thing. But yeah, it feels like a blimp in time now, considering all the factors.
That went by really quick. It didn't go by while we were in the midst of it.
I know. That's the unfortunate part of me just getting here. I'm like, sorry, I didn't suffer that one with you all.
Yeah, welcome, Casey. Welcome.
Thank you.
Casey comes, a lot of new things are going on. We got the draft, we got the other draft.
I don't want to be responsible for a breath of fresh air, but I will take like a little bit of credit.
You can totally be responsible for that. I'm all about it.
Falcons would be looking for a breath of fresh air. You put on this fat contract to bring in Kirk Cousins, and then you still realize you drafted a quarterback for a reason. Michael Penix Jr. Getting some looks last year. Would he remain with the Falcons on your board, or would he be maneuvered elsewhere?
Yeah, I have him with the Falcons, and they've really wanted this guy for a long time. I mean, you sign Kirk Cousins, you think that that's going to be the guy, and then they bench him, right? Obviously, like, he's still coming back from that Achilles. He probably wasn't fully himself,
right?
But I think this is a guy who they've wanted for a long time, and they've had their eye on, and they've been without, like, their quarterback for years, right? And they faced some heartbreak with the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Like, there's a lot of reasons why they, want security at that quarterback position, and getting a young guy like Penix is definitely an area that they were excited about.
Yeah, and you're talking about a guy too that can air out the ball like crazy. Now just getting him the supporting wide receivers out there. I mean, there's talks of them kind of switching things up when it comes to tight end. Kyle Pitts hasn't been able to be particularly that healthy, has been inconsistent with his big moments. I think he needs a little bit more of a chance, but I mean, if we're in circulation talks of him being out on the market, maybe somebody that can add to the Patriots room. I wasn't against it, but I'm not sure if the Falcons would be quick on the release on that. I'm right there with you. I will remain to keep Michael Penix Jr. with the Falcons. Then it brings us to one of my favorite conversations, J.J. McCarthy with the Vikings. We didn't get a chance to see anything, but knowing how excited everyone was for him to get that opportunity in the NFL, this was supposed to be his team from the jump, and then the injury happens. A Vikings team that was able to level up a guy like Sam Darnold, one of the top offensive lines out there to protect the quarterback. So you have a young quarterback that can have a lot more confidence to his game as he starts growing through this next step in his career. Where do we take JJ?
I have JJ with Minnesota, and just for that same reason, they love this guy. And that was such a heartbreak when he went down. Like, I just remember being, and I'm not a Minnesota fan, but I remember being like, oh man, like I was so excited to see him. And you could just see that excitement too from Minnesota. I mean, they didn't re-sign Sam Darnold because they believe in him so much. They didn't go out and make an effort to get Aaron Rodgers because they want JJ McCarthy to be their starter. So I think he's got a really promising future in Minnesota, and I'm excited to see him suited up in the purple this year.
Oh my gosh. And speaking of faith, like, to know that they're not going to try to bring anyone else, it's a clear path of being yours at QB1. But I caught a number of the press conferences. I still keep close tabs on the Minnesota Vikings, but there were so many guys that were like, even though he got hurt, even though he's freshly in the league, like, he was still being a vocal leader. You're brand new to a team, and you're being a hype guy for everyone else that eventually you're going to be playing alongside of. I think that just says so much about what they can expect. The skill is going to be there. It's going to come right back to him. I mean, we've seen how much science just gets these guys back and ready and propelled into the game. So I like your board. I think that we have everything just about the same. Which quarterback do you think will take the next biggest step, let's say this upcoming season? I know.
I think from Jaden Daniels' performance, the safe bet is to go with him.
Okay.
But I think looking at what the Patriots have done, and yes, we're in Boston, so that's a factor too, but looking at what the Patriots have done to support Drake Maye and to invest in him, and also the guys that are surrounding him, like Hunter Henry, who we talked about earlier in the show, I think he is set up for a really high success rate.
Yeah, and I think that he's feeling the fact that he needs to take that leap, that fresh into the league, now in his sophomore season leap. I want to stick with Drake Maye, but you make a point to say Jaden Daniels. I'm going to go with Bo Nix. I think Bo Nix takes an even larger step because he's going to have that much more comfort and confidence. They added some pieces for him to have, and they just had such a balanced attack when it came to their offense. And I just go back to coaching every single time. We've seen Sean Payton be not only a quarterback whisperer, but just a genius when it comes to orchestrating and wielding the perfect offense against their opponents. And it's kind of open out there for him in a sense of like the competition AFC-wise. Like, their defense were sneaky good too. So Bo Nix getting a little bit more settled in, coming off a season where people very much underestimated what he was going to bring to the field, levels up in so many ways. I'm really stoked to see what the Broncos do, but I don't want to underestimate Drake Maye, the Patriots, Mike Vrabel, and Josh McDaniels. A lot to look forward to